He thinks Lizzo is fit.
No.
Can I start on this one?
You can, but I think I'm siding with him though.
Okay, maybe she has a medical condition we don't know
I mean,
about.
like, we wouldn't consider her as the flag bearer of like fitness or whatever. Like, just,
I had a point. I like my life and I like living life. I'm not like a worker.
People look at us and say, oh, what? They're making videos online. You know, they're not really grinding. What? Kya kar raha hai? Wasting time. They're just talking.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Having Said That show. I'm your co-host Adi alongside Jay.
What's up, guys?
Today's episode, we have one of the pioneers in the Indian fitness industry. He's reached thousands of people and changed their lives just by virtue of being online. Kunal Rajput is in the studio. How are you doing, Kunal?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for that warm welcome.
It's exciting for us today because we've never actually done one of our segments with a guest.
Yeah.
But we thought, why not peel back the curtain on who you are as well? We're going to do a HST Unfiltered with you. We started this series in an attempt to kind of open up with your boys, talk about things that, are vulnerable, that you don't really see people talk about. And today, I really wanted to talk to you boys about work-life balance.
Yeah.
And the reason I thought of this topic is because I was obviously in the US for my first vacation after I moved back. And it was the hardest vacation I've ever taken because it was just so hard to let go. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it is an interesting topic to hear. I mean, to talk about, because I think when you went for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And after the second week, he kept texting me. He was like, "Hey, how are you? How's the show? What are you guys doing? Was it a good show?" He's never texted me that much in my life. Yeah, work-life balance, man. I think it is super hard, especially when you run your own business and when you're the main kind of, person doing the operation. And I still haven't figured it out. So my question to you guys would be, how do you not let your passion, because we're all doing this because we want to do it, we love to do it. How do you not let that passion die out, even in the tough times? How do you not let that annoyance and frustration bleed into the thing you love and turn it ugly in a way? How do you keep that love alive? How do you keep that spark alive? I can take this one.
No, I feel like we should.
It is hard.
No, let's give the viewers a little context. So Kunal recently opened up his gym, right?
Yeah, they have no idea.
Yeah, they have no idea. Sorry. No, I feel like most people know who you are, but for those who don't, obviously he just opened his gym. I can't even imagine how hectic your life's been in the past 6 months.
It just went all over the place. And yeah, to give you some kind of background, what happened?
Yeah.
It was earlier, this entire work-life balance, I had it pretty much sorted, because what I was doing is, during the pandemic, I opened, we launched this online platform called as Unlock. And that was working pretty well. And I realized that in order to make sure that people are consistent, we need to have cohort-based programming rather than keeping it as an online class where people can just sign up.
Yeah.
So that made retention much higher. Now, in order to make sure that the retention is higher and we keep on giving people better services, we used to have 4-week programs or 6-week programs, and then we used to take a break for 10 days. And we kept doing that for the last 3 years, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And it was all online.
All online.
Yeah.
So it literally from my place, my cat was behind me, my sister's working out behind me. That is what is happening. And it's an hours of work, and then we launched more services, but that is a different thing altogether. But during that 10-day break, I just used to fuck off. I can abuse, right?
Yeah.
I used to but I can say the facts, right? I used to get the first ticket out and just used to travel, mostly to build the community at different places, because it's an online platform. So I used to travel to Delhi, to Bangalore, Hyderabad, and all these cities, get drunk with these guys, meet people, have conversations, and then maybe go to Goa. So cumulatively, I was in Goa during the pandemic for a year or something.
Wait, so you weren't going to these cities for seminars or anything? You were just literally going to meet people?
Yeah, so my game was to have my flight tickets and stay sorted. So for that, I used to have workshops done.
Sure.
So it wasn't and I used to just have something which is called I still do that, Unlock Socials, which is just making people meet other people, because we need a platform to get the like-minded community.
Sure.
And that was happening and was going pretty smooth till my last trip to Sri Lanka, where I just realized I need to do something much more than what I've been doing, because it becomes redundant after a point. There's only so much you can do, and then you see a small dip in terms of your passion, as you said, because redundancy comes in. And you can't anticipate what growth is going to come in after a point. So that was happening.
So when did you have that feeling? Like, just give
I
us a
think it was
timeline.
I think so the 3-week break that you took, I took a 4-week or 32-day break last year, which was in Bali. And at that time, I just figured that, you know what, there's no culture for fitness over here at all. And this was my second time in Bali. And I realized that every day I'm waking up happy. And every day I'm like, just like going to the gym consciously, working out a couple of hours, eating, meeting people. And the conversations were different. So like that idea kind of like seeped in at that point where we need to do something like that in Bombay.
Yeah.
So that was there in the background. And the Sri Lanka trip basically changed my perception on like, you know what, like really need to do something with Unlock, because after a point, if I just keep at Unlock at this level, it will just like die out, and I don't want that because it was me. So then I just came back and I realized that, you know what, I need to like open a space of my own and started a...
That's a
Man,
quick
yeah.
turnaround, man,
Yeah,
to like
that is a quick
think of that and then just immediately do it.
But I'm sure it was in the back of your mind already, right?
It was. I mean, like we were consciously...
You just decided to take it.
Yeah, we were consciously searching for places. It's like the word was out there that I am searching for places, but you don't realize that once you finally get that space, that should... Like, are we doing this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay's been there. He was there for your opening.
Yeah.
We drove by it that day,
yes.
and I just saw it from outside, but it still felt like so cool
it
to
was
see.
really cool, man. You got above a Noble as well, man. Shout out.
Oh yeah,
Shout
shout
out.
out. Cultural hub, bro.
That is that was the best part I thought. I was like, this
About
location
Noble
is
Chemist. That is what it is.
amazing. You know, like it's great. It's great. But speaking of work-life balance, right? What are some of your hobbies outside of fitness? Because I saw on your Instagram you went to Sri Lanka, you were surfing as well, right? So is that something you do regularly?
Whenever I get the time though, or whenever I make the time.
Yeah.
But the thing is like now, since at least like, thank you. Since at least a couple of years, I don't think so I have anything. I used to like really enjoy, oh wow, dude, like shit. I have to look at the horizon and like think like, do I have anything?
Yeah, because
No.
I asked
Oh,
myself.
shit.
I asked myself.
we didn't mean to get you.
No, I asked myself that question as well. I'm like, what do you do? I think someone asked me the other day, like, what do you do besides like working out and stuff? And I had the same realization. I was like, do I have any other interests? And I was like, yeah, I do have like certain interests. I like surfing. I like watching, sports and stuff. And I do like combat. I do
But then again, like,
because you got to diversify as well,
it's
right?
also like physical activity based.
Yeah, sure.
So like consciously also making a choice of going towards that realm, which is like making you physically a bit more active and
Definitely.
feel the way. Like other than that, I think reading was one of these things. But now when I look
Nice.
back at it, it's all self-help books.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I think you grow out of the self-help phase after like you've read like 50 and you're like, okay,
is
this
all the
is
same.
telling me the same stuff.
Yeah.
And like,
I hope so.
And then you
I
just
do
go
that.
work out anyway, and that's like all you need.
But yeah, like I think my life right now is like is all about just, I don't know, like building something.
Yeah.
So I don't think so there is a balance in like, and because there's no balance, like your mental health kind of suffers.
Yeah.
So your
But
relationship.
you do subscribe to the fact that like if you want to build something, at least initially, there can't be a balance.
1000%.
You know what I mean? Because you're trying to balance. Like balance comes when you figure out one aspect and you're like, okay, cool, that's fine. I'm gonna go figure my shit out like otherwise. But when you're doing this, when you were building your gym, tunnel vision, I'm assuming, right? Because literally nothing else matters to you except opening day at
Yet
that
also
point.
to give you guys like some comfort like, in the hobby, this thing where if you guys like, we are in the unique position where we have made our hobby our work. So it's like, sure,
Yeah.
we don't need that. We don't need
Yeah,
that
yeah,
hobby. Like we enjoy doing our work that
Yeah.
much that it's like I get to do that for 8 hours of the day anyway, or 10 hours or 12 hours.
yeah.
And then my life is my life. Hanging out with friends, hanging out with whatever.
Exactly. Like similar question is like, what do you do to unwind at the end of your work day? Work out.
Yeah.
That's literally, I was like, I chill like every day when we work out. So yeah, it's crazy, man. It is a lucky like position to have, but just dealing with other people as well. I know when I'm in like a super work hole, I kind of disregard everyone else around me and I'm kind of tunnel vision. And you do have to be like that for like maybe 6 weeks at a time. And then you can kind of look to the horizon and be like, okay, what else is out there for me right now?
Yeah, I personally feel like even no matter how lucky we are in terms of, and that's like just coming out of like straight up privilege to like be in that like 0.1% of people who are doing things for a living that they love. But after a point, it just gets to you. No matter, like work is work.
It
Like
does,
when you have to like
yeah.
just show up.
Yeah.
Like even when, I think for me, the stressing part is all about like not being able to be flexible and choose when I want to do something. Like passion is passion, man, but like I want to make sure that I have the ability of choosing when to do it.
Do you feel like right now people are blocking up your time just because of the studio? Is that
Also
what's
like
keeping you?
responsibilities. I mean, like I like it's just in all true senses, like even right now, like there is like a certain percentage of my head which is just thinking like, okay, you know what, my plants are dying way back, so like I need to do something about it. But all these things like kind of like keep adding, and I think as in when you grow older, and I can safely say that it's just that the consequences of all your actions and all your time allotments kind of like increases exponentially. And like now it's just all over the place, so I'm like trying to figure it out. So all the conversations which I have with people who have made it, I just keep having the same question, like how do you figure this out, like how do you do this, because it's just so overwhelming to do something that nobody in your line, like family line, has done before. So how do you pull that off? So it's just like wanting to know a lot more. So that takes up a lot of space, and then executing takes up a lot of space. Then hoping everything would be going right takes up a lot of space.
So
like
I
that.
feel like when you are doing something that, you know, your family doesn't know too much about, a lot of the thing that helps is a mainstream kind of vouch for you. Now, when I looked, the first time I ever found your profile was when you did, I think, a Nike running, I don't know, was it like a marathon or like a training camp or something like that?
Yeah, so I've been a Nike coach since the last 7.5 years, and we finally got them to collaborate with Unlock. So Unlock is the running partner. So now we host events for Nike all over the city.
That might have been a big turning point for even your family to be like, oh, cool, you're working with Nike. Like, I recognize that
Yeah,
brand.
that is when my dad realized that now he doesn't need to like me pestering. So that is what it was.
I think going off that also, all of us here are doing things that our family didn't do. Are also things that are like, oh, you're chasing your dreams or you're doing something. I don't know if you've had this experience, especially me working in film. I tell people, oh, I'm doing film and stuff, and oh, I've done all of these cool things, and they'll go, oh, at least beta, you're doing what you want to do. Firstly, why is it an at least? Like, yes, you know what I mean? And I think because of that, there's that mentality of, okay, I don't know if it's just me, but like, I need to prove you wrong. Like, I need to be able to do all of these things so that like my family is supporting me. I'm privileged in that sense, but just to make sure that everyone knows that it's not a waste of time. That I'm saying, sitting here like, you know, I can do this, then I actually want to prove that I can do this. And I think because of that, at this age especially, there's this like mindset of like, oh, this is the time to grind and this is the time to do it. And yeah, 6 weeks, whatever, tunnel vision, you do it, you work. But eventually it sort of starts becoming unsustainable, at least for me. And I suddenly I realized that like, the things that used to feel like, oh, I'm wasting my time, which is like just sitting and watching a TV show, or like playing FIFA alone, or even just like, you know, not meeting someone one evening, is things that like I need. I need that, you know, that's the balance that I'm lacking.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like two parts of the conversation, right? Like the first part is like, I think that driving force is very important for you to achieve whatever you want to achieve, because like the whole proving a point really works well, at least in our ecosystem, like where we are from, because like there's so many naysayers around us. And we just have this like ultra high like energy coming in from just the fact that, you know, I just want to like prove you this thing. And that really helps you to like achieve the things that you have set your mind to achieve. And that is what happened, like this thing. Like it might have been an ego thing, it might have been whatever, but we end up doing that. In terms of like getting that rest, for me, like there were like certain points in these last few months where I just like kept my phone, and the phone is like the phone,
I feel you.
So my phone died while I was like just like sitting, and I had nobody around me at that 15-minute period. Just let go, and that was that point where I realized, dude, I really need this. And you have to consciously make those like choices.
Yeah, you got to schedule them in like rest days. You know what I mean? You got to calm down a little bit.
And you don't realize like these CEOs, like the people that we like who have achieved it, when they speak about like, okay, like this is my family time. This is what's gonna happen. This is I don't use any electronics after this thing. It all seems like a sham earlier.
Yeah.
But now when you actually go to that phase of like being overwhelmed, you're like, maybe. My uncle was right.
Yeah. No, it's actually super like insane that you said this.
Yeah.
My mom sent me this post and it says, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Isn't that
Shout out Ariana's mom.
Yeah. Sarah.
I think we're done with it.
Work-life balance, guys. Game over.
I had a follow-up question though. I think all of you are doing things that you love, like you said, you're passionate about. Now, the thing you said, Adi, is that my hobby is my job now, and I do it all the time. So then, does that get like, do you, for example, I don't know how to say this, but like, I know all of you love to do what you do all the time, but doesn't that get like a lot?
For sure. It's like when I'm resting at night or whatever, my brain is still on like go mode.
Yeah.
So I'm always thinking, oh, I shouldn't be doing this right now. There's other things to do. And because like I am the sole, I guess, benefiter of my actions in this field of music or whatever, you're just always like, I know there's competition out there who's probably not resting right now.
Yeah.
That fucks with you. And then that proving a point thing is like the biggest driving force. But what I wanted to ask you was, you've obviously proved your point. Now, what motivates you?
That's the thing, man. I don't think so. I've proved anything like that. It just.
I guess for yourself, you'll never feel that like outside externally people will think, okay, dude, you're successful.
So what I've seen from your page and like the community that you've created, you mentioned that there are a lot of naysayers, and that is something we're trying to do with this podcast as well, where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of naysayers, but there's a lot of people who have your back as well. And I think 100%. The community that you've created, I feel like when you look at your page, that seems to be the motivation. It's like creating a community of people who are not naysayers, who want you to succeed and who want themselves to succeed, so that as well. I mean, for me at least, that is a huge driving force.
Getting it. Now, for me, this has become a point where just like everything, like all these things are so fickle. Like no matter like the point that you reach, there's always going to be somebody who's like working twice as hard because he's like younger or like she's like younger and like more hungrier at that particular point in their journey, who want to be where we are. So like you really have to be at it. So like in terms of reaching at a certain point and like feeling that, you know what, like I have achieved it, if that is something that like if I have right now, or if I reach to a conclusion right now, I don't think so I'll ever be able to like grow from it.
Complacency comes.
Yeah. And comfort is like just like the whole working out bit, like comfort is something that really like stagnates you, and like stagnation at this particular point is just going to like push you back because a lot of hungry people are there.
Definitely. Yeah. And also to answer your point, Ariana, you've seen me work, right? So sometimes when you come up and she's on the bike or whatever, like I'll take a little nap between my. It does get exhausting sometimes, but I think the main key is that if you have that driving force and you make it as fun for yourself as possible, it's very hard. Like it's very, very hard to outwork someone who is just enjoying themselves, who's just having fun and kind of taking their time while also being driven and hungry and stuff. So yeah, it does get exhausting for sure. But I think with the three of us love what we do and we have fun with what we do, I think that is the key.
Well, Kunal, we spoke about the industry a little bit, but something we love asking all our guests is, what is your most controversial opinion, preferably in your field? So why don't you hit us with one?
Yeah, like I think one of the things that he said, which was like, I just wanted to say that like it's easy to make it because people around you are like much more comfortable and soft right now. It's much easier to make it big if you like slog.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like the continuation of that point. And the controversial opinion, like I have so many, but then like I'm also this one person who has had spent 3 hours while coming over here. So I had like a lot of like discourse with myself. Like, should I say
you
this?
can give us a bunch. That's fine.
You want to rattle off a few and then we decide which one we want to go for?
We'll decide the best one. And we'll decide.
Okay, 2 things. Number one, I don't think that achieving a decent physicality is difficult at all. I think like being healthy is the easiest shit that anybody can ever do.
Aman thinks it's pretty controversial.
No, I genuinely feel like people keep fucking fitness at like a pedestal for some reason, and it shouldn't be. It's like the easiest shit. There's no rocket science. If I can like have a decent physique, and I'm dumb, dude. I'm an engineer who isn't into engineering. I'm not like counting myself as a low person, like who hasn't put in that kind of effort, but I don't think so that's that difficult. And people have put those things at such a pedestal that is celebrate the idea of like going to a gym.
Yeah.
And they upload it.
Yeah.
Where we are talking about making it a habit. If
Yeah.
you're making it a habit and you're resonating it with the idea of like brushing your teeth, why are you celebrating
Just
going to a gym and like taking a
spending like
selfie?
5
Yeah.
minutes on a treadmill.
Or like getting a decent workout also. But the thing is, like, if you keep it at a pedestal, then it becomes something that is a bit more difficult thing for you to achieve.
Yeah.
Rather than like it should be a part of your life.
Sure.
So yeah.
So when we talk about people, so I have this argument with Aditya all the time actually, where I'm like, it's so easy and anyone can do it. When you speak about scheduling your priorities, what would you say to someone who fitness is not necessarily a priority, but it should be one of their priorities? So it's not like the driving force that gets them up in the morning. What would you say to someone like that whose work is like outside fitness and fitness is
Yeah, that's like
kind
the
of
most common thing. Right?
secondary?
Most
Yeah.
people just have so much work that they feel like I don't
They
want to
don't
prioritize.
it. I mean, like, and they
But-
feel like they don't have
Yeah.
time for that.
Yeah,
and like,
exactly.
But 3 times or 4 times a week
It's very
of just,
possible, I
like
feel.
30 or 40 minutes. Yes.
Yeah, but having said that, I think I was on that side where I would be like hyping up working out and I'd be like, oh my god, this seems so hard, dedicating that time and effort to this. And I was always like, I would do a workout, I would join some class, 3 months I'd do it, and then I'd get like bored of it and move on to something else or not do anything. So I've recently been really committed to my fitness journey, and I agree with you that now it's like a part of my like life, and I go to the gym 3-4 times
He spends
a
3
week.
hours at the gym, by the way.
Yeah, I just love it.
Just for
It's very fun. But so I get it. I understand what you're saying now, but I also understand the thing of building it up and putting it on pedestal, because I think from the outside it's so hard when you, especially like going to the gym, like we've discussed this before on the pod, where like you go to the gym and you see all these people who like know what they're doing and they look super fit, everyone has abs, and you're like, what am I gonna do here, like lift 1 kilo weights and all? Like
That's
it's
the
a bit
culture
much.
bit I was talking about, that there's no culture where people are welcoming enough for people to just come in and be comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is, bro?
Because of like it's a testosterone driven industry.
Yeah.
And people who have been, and this might be like coming in from like a very saturated point of view from whatever I've experienced, but I think like the commercial gyms are being run by individuals who are either obsessed about being and looking in a certain way, or the trainers also like
Sure.
you need to be either so insecure or so obsessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either of those, right? I will like to achieve a certain level.
Yeah,
of,
I feel like
a
both is a winning
physicality.
combination.
Yeah, and for me it was insecure. yeah, exactly. Insecurity drives obsession after a certain point, right? Once you reach that. For me, it was like insecurity which drove me to be a better person, or like just work harder. But like that insecurity, along with a lot of insecure people, kind of like makes them like very closed, and that won't allow an atmosphere where people will be welcoming to other people.
Sure, I feel that insecurity, obsession, all of that stuff is true, but this as well. Once you get past a certain number of years with training, you realize that that's not what it's about. You're doing it because you love it, you're doing it because you have fun, and you're doing it because it makes you feel really good. Why do people not want that feeling for someone new who is insecure?
Because
Maybe
that maturity and the conversations don't happen because people are still in the same mindset. And the thing is, with bodybuilding, it's not about the way that you feel anymore, but it's about the way that you look.
yeah,
So
sure.
those are the parameters that we are talking about. When it comes to strength training and the kind of powerlifting that you end up doing, you end up getting happy because you know that your dimensions and your ability to lift and move certain weight is very
Very
for
tangible.
you. And,
It's very tangible
yeah, exactly.
results.
And
Yeah,
it's
sure.
for you, right?
Yeah.
And like if a larger guy comes in, you know that your job is to make sure that he can lift whatever.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
like if you're talking about an advanced weightlifter or like an intermediate lifter or whatever, 2 times deadlift is a bare minimum that they should be achieving. And once you make them reach to that point and go beyond that point, it is like your win as much as
sure.
anybody else's win, because you have achieved them. So you don't count their progress with your numbers,
Yes.
because that's a different thing altogether. For me also, like it's about making them feel better about themselves. If they're happy,
100%.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
But in bodybuilding, my father was a bodybuilder. I'll be like,
Oh, really?
Oh, damn, that's cool, man.
So, but
Like he used to
didn't know
compete
that.
and stuff.
yeah, he would hate me saying this, but like,
Wait, can we get a
yeah.
picture of him as
Yo,
well to
that's
throw up?
crazy. man.
I don't think so. I have it in this.
No, later,
Yeah, but
whatever, yeah.
I'll send it to you. But yeah, he came third in Mr. Maharashtra, and
Whoa.
that is all he knew at that time, just bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
And I have grown up with individuals who have obsessed about their physicality. And it's all about the way that you look, not about the way that you feel.
I will say this. I think it is tough to go to the gym, and I think it is tough to get a physical body, and I think that's the controversial opinion in this room.
Yeah.
But it is in the sense of like fitness is not as simple as like, at least for me, it never was. It's not just, oh, you go to the gym every day. It's you go to the gym, you clean up your eating, you clean up your sleeping. There's so many things. And it's like when you're committed, like there was a time that I was committed and every decision I would make was made. And it honestly, it wasn't about how I felt. It was about how I looked, but every decision was made that way. And then life happened. I felt sick again. And suddenly all that fucking work I did for however long to lose all that weight and feel fitter sort of dissipated. And I found myself back in the same place. And I was like, I don't want to do that again. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of it is like, it comes from a sense of comfort and complacency. It also comes from a sense of like, right now, I want to put my energy that I know I have towards these things. And for me, at some level, it wasn't easy to like, okay, wake up early, go to the gym, don't eat this, don't do that. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing, that Aman, it's like a game. Like you can just change one factor at a time. You don't have to do everything together.
Which I have, right? Like now
I was going to ask you, now that and you guys know Aman's been going to the gym recently, and
You look amazing though.
Yeah,
He's lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah, because I saw the videos from last time, and now you look.
I've been telling him lately, what do you think has changed this time? Because when you are in the gym, you're phenomenal. Like you do everything that you're supposed to do. So why is this mindset kind of still infiltrating your thoughts? Right?
Not. I mean, I think it's also.
Do you feel like it's easier for you?
It is easier for me to come to the gym now because look, okay, I'm around you guys who are going to the gym more. B, I'm coming to you, right? Like I'm coming to someone I know that I'm comfortable about. In 2020, when I first started losing weight, I was all on my own. Obviously, it was lockdown, and a lot of it was my eating habits. And then because, like Ariana said, I didn't want to go to a gym, and like I tried to go, and it's always like, at least for me, as like a naturally bigger dude, it was always a little like, I felt out of place. So I was working out at home. I was doing Nike courses and I was running and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it's easy in a sense, but it's also for a lot of people like me. I think that you build up a wolf, and at the end of the day, even if it's a puppy that you have to look after for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And bringing it back to the point where like it matters not how you feel but how you look. I think when I was my biggest, strongest, I was my most unhealthy, I feel. And that part didn't matter to me because I was big and I looked good and whatever. And then that's when COVID hit and I dropped, I think 11 kgs in like the span of 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like the work I had done from the age of 16 to 21 had just been demolished in 6 weeks. Mentally, for me, that was so fucking hard to deal with. Like it literally was like a different person looking back at me in the mirror. That is when I found out, like that is when I kind of rediscovered my love for just working out.
Yeah.
And that is, I've spoken about this way back on the pod. That is ultimately what is going to drive you. That feeling of like, I do this not for how I look or whatever. It's because of how I feel while doing it. So even those lockdown workouts, we're doing push-ups, jump squats, split squats, all body weight stuff, it brings you back to like that 16-year-old self who just discovered the gym and was just kind of, excited about doing something and working out.
Like, because you're always like calibrating your goals in two aspects, right? One is a time-based aspect and one is like the way that you look aspect. If you remove the time bit, like you realize that, wow, so now I don't have any like limitation in terms of what my journey is going to be.
There's no finish line.
Exactly.
Almost,
And in the end, it's like an infinite game anyway. So you really have to realize that. And a lot of people think that they can achieve a certain physicality in a certain time frame where in order to look in a certain way for a certain occasion. And once that thing comes in, you basically are like putting up and building walls around you. So that is one thing.
Sure.
In terms of looking also, like we always have been looking at other people or we always have been comparing ourselves with the way that we used to look earlier. And like those are our the goals that we would want to reach. But the thing is like you're growing older. Those people have different physicalities and different lifestyle. So you can't like think of how would you be looking in the next 15 days or like a month or 6 months. So you have to like take these two things off from the entire equation. And once you do that, then it just becomes easier.
Yeah, I was going to say like COVID helped me a lot mentally just dealing with the fact that, I used to freak out, dude. If I missed like a day, of working out, I used to freak out. I used to just be like, whatever. 9 months of a break from the gym and I was just kind of more at peace with myself. Did you feel the same way when you were not able to work out when you were building your gym? Was that
this time?
Yeah, was that
Yeah.
obsession just like fucking in your mind that you couldn't work out?
And I used to look like a different person altogether. But at that time, at that time, I just like, so the thing is like, I'm asthmatic. I'm asthmatic and I'm hyper allergic to my cat.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait.
So like dude, it's just like, it's the weirdest thing, but like hyper allergic to my cat.
You didn't know you were allergic to the cat when
After COVID, I think.
Oh,
I just
really?
became-
Oh, okay.
So it just so happened. And so I used to travel, I used to come back and I used to be asthmatic. And for like in 4 or 5 days, I used to lose like 4 kgs or 5 kgs.
wow.
Like that. So like those radical changes that my body had been through was like common at that particular
Okay,
point.
so you would just
So
phased
like
out
for
of
me,
that.
like, yeah, you know what, like fuck this shit. I just like, let me just like build this up and then maybe.
I wanted to go back a little bit because I found it very interesting that your dad is a bodybuilder. I did not know that. And you also said that it was insecurity that kind of pushed you into starting your fitness journey. Was it primarily because you had this figure who's probably like the ideal male physique in your house and you're just looking at him all the time? You're a kid going to school, kind of, I don't know if you were insecure about your body or how you looked or other things, but was that your bridge into starting your fitness journey?
I think so. Subconsciously, there might have been certain parts of me who wanted to look in a certain way because like I was always surrounded by individuals who used to look like this thing. But I always thought I would grow up to that.
Oh,
Without
like
being
just
like
naturally.
just like because you always like
I like that. I like that whole
like-
process, man.
like oh, this is how you're going to look
it's
when
like,
you're like
I have
grow
no other
older.
option. I have to
No, I had no idea the point of like working out was
Yeah.
the reason why this thing. But when like I think college, and I think I did an interview with like somebody recently, and then, like I realized that in college when people started talking about, oh, you're skinny, dude. Like the first couple of comments that you get, that are the most impressionable part of your life, right? Because
Yeah.
and for me it was like skinny, so like just a guy with average height, like below average set of teeth, like above average like
Your
nose.
friends are telling you these things?
That's what I have realized.
Everyone was like, hey, bro.
Hey, Jay, bro. Jay, you have an above average set of teeth.
like
Friends
this
like
is like
you, man.
like again like because engineering and all these things, and like my friends are the coolest set of people, but they won't shy away from like taking a dig on you.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then like,
yeah.
dude, those are like Dothrakis, honestly. Like, and I have grown up with such cool people who have made me a better version by, I mean, like it's toxic, but it is what it is. And that helped me like be a better version of me. So that helped me more than like my dad being in the picture, because he never was, or like even my mom was a hockey player and like,
Oh, wow, man.
Just
Yeah.
like genetically
Yeah.
blessed.
So you did have to be jacked. There's no other option.
Yeah, like
there's no.
yeah. So like we were always into sports and everything, but it was always about the activity that you used to
Yes.
do, and if you're getting better at that particular sport,
Yeah.
you're good. It was never about the look bit.
Yeah.
And then college changed.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I always say like you gotta have, well, at least with workouts, I don't know how you feel about this, but I love working out with a workout partner who is, you know, better than me in some aspect and equal to me in some aspect, because when I work out with him, I'm like out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, is he still watching? Can I do like a few reps less or something? You know, so it definitely fuels you, especially when you're in that environment of like working out, that you have someone there who is able to keep you accountable, whose opinion you care about enough
Yeah.
to finish that set, finish those reps, and keep kind of pushing each other up and up and up. So I do understand that it's not toxic, may be the wrong word for it. It's a little competitive, I think would be a better word.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the reason I said toxic also is because, like, another controversial opinion, like, people are much softer now, so like, they might find it toxic. For me, it wasn't.
Yes.
For me, that was like uplifting at that
Yeah.
point.
Jay's eyes lit up, bro. He fucking
I've had this argument so many times.
Completely agree with you, and I think it's how we obviously it's the profession that we're in, and we have to have the mindset that you should work and you should be working out and stuff. So I tell these guys all the time that people generally, I have noticed, I'm sure you're dealing with a lot of people as well, that the general attitude towards it is one of, you know, just I'd rather not do it if I don't have to.
No, because I want to be comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, like, all
It's an
Amazing.
uncomfortable activity to do to get comfortable with yourself.
because like people don't realize the abstract positive impacts that just a normal workout can give you.
100%, man. I agree.
When you say Pilates and group sessions and everything, like that basically helped you somewhat be accountable for that particular period of time. And that only
100%.
came in because you had partners and like-minded people coming in together and like pushing you.
Yeah.
And with women, I think it's way more difficult to like go out of the way, and like in this particular ecosystem, again, I keep saying this because all my friends, and we have like explicitly spoken about this, it's so uncomfortable to be a woman right now in this space, and just like go out and like work out against all the norms where people are just like judging you at every single corner, even if you do anything.
Yeah.
Which there is a misconception with women in the fitness space when they lift, it'll be like, oh, they'll just blow up, and it's just absolutely not the case. You know
Look
what I mean?
Look at me, man. Like I've been working out for a decade. Like, I haven't been fucking blowing up. Nothing is blowing up.
Fucking hard, bro. Like, what do you mean, dude?
I keep flexing my triceps and like thinking that's a
Wait,
would be nicer.
Can you bust one of Aman's controversial opinions? He thinks Lizzo is fit.
No.
You said this, bro.
I'll tell you what I said. I said a lot of people, including Jay, look at Lizzo and be like, she's so fat. Fuck her. She's.
Hey, no.
Hold on. Yo. Good. Put it on. Okay. Even though she toxic work environment and all aside, I said people comment on her weight a lot. But if you look at Lizzo, like her social media presence, I don't know what she does in her personal life. That's not my business.
Fuck, dude.
Okay.
Come on, bro.
On her social media presence, she's always at the gym. She's promoting healthy eating. She's also like, when she performs on stage, she's performing for like 4 hours. She's, dancing, like playing the flute, singing, like it's a strenuous activity. And it's very easy to look at her size and be like, oh, she's so unhealthy and she's horrible and she's ruined it for everyone. But I think, look, she's 35 or whatever. And Jay keeps going, yeah, bro, but it'll affect her later. Bro, there are bodybuilders who die younger.
Yes,
right?
yeah,
Like
because they are that.
She's like, hold on. She's doing what she needs to do. It's very easy to just comment on her. But like all said and done, she's not sitting there saying, just eat Cheetos and like, oh, get fat. You know what I mean?
Dude, I agree.
Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, like
Can I start on this one?
You can, but I think I'm siding with him though.
Oh, you're
like
siding with him.
So here's the thing. If you are medically obese, no matter how fit you are, at some point the age will catch up to you. Your joints, your organs, pressure, the blood pressure. You can be as fit as you want. You can move around as much as you want. The armor of youth will only last for a certain amount of time. And to the point of bodybuilders, it is not healthy to be of a certain size, whatever it is, whether it's muscle, whether it's fat, it's the same thing. When you are that large and your body has the demands of dealing with a much larger entity than it's supposed to, that is unhealthy by any metric. And I think the fact that Lizzo is on stage and she's performing, fantastic. But I think that no matter what you are promoting, if you are medically considered obese, which I would say she is, then it's not good for you. It's not healthy. And long term, it should not be called fit or glorified in any aspect of that. She can do what she wants. It's her life. But to your point, I hope you're saying this out of wokeness and you don't actually believe that she is fit.
I'm not saying she's fit. I'm saying it's very unfair that people have stereotyped her, which is everyone has done this.
Bro, you say she promotes a healthy lifestyle, but you can just look different and promote that. You don't have to show me the salad you're eating. I can just look at you and think you're healthy.
But because, it's also not like some people are naturally just bigger.
Sure, but not that. Okay, maybe she has a medical condition we don't know about.
Like, we wouldn't consider her as the flag bearer of like fitness or whatever. Like, just,
I had a point.
like, dude.
All I'm gonna say is, I think it's unfair that she's been labeled as the flag bearer of being unhealthy.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying.
I'm saying like health and fitness is very different, right? And now she's like pursuing on paper, she's pursuing healthy lifestyle, even if she doesn't look the part. That's her demons to fight, man. And like I'm like whatever. Like would I call her fit and everything? Like that would be a stretch. But healthy.
Something she hasn't done.
Look, once again, I just wanna say, because I love you, bro, and I hope. I do.
We don't care about Lizzo. We care about you.
I really, it's not my job to care about, what other people are doing. But with you specifically, I do hope that you take my bias out of it and you understand that being obese is not healthy.
I'm not saying that, bro.
Okay.
For her to be judged as, the poster woman for obesity, it's not cool. Unfortunately, she is in the spotlight. And we don't know much about it. So we can move on from that point.
We can agree on that.
We can agree on that,
okay.
For sure. Definitely.
That's her demons.
Yeah, 100%.
Any other controversial opinions you want to throw at us?
Fuck no.
No, I like it. I feel like I go for it. If you have one more, I'm down to hear it.
Oh shit.
No, the
Go for it.
softness one we didn't really touch on because I have argued with you intensely about this. I don't think it's true.
So can I give you an example of like
Can you give me an example outside your gym?
No. So let me speak to that point. Since we had that conversation, it's forced me to look at obviously the younger generation of people who I thought was softer and stuff. And we have a really great example in our room of Aryan, who is an absolute fucking hustler demon.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's people who are unmotivated, there's people who are motivated. To cast, that on an entire generation is unfair because I think in every generation you will find softness. So yeah, I'm more neutral on that now than I was before. But it's just about keeping an open mind and you can pick and choose unmotivated people also.
Why would you?
And
Why did you say that? What makes you think that?
When I say soft, I think they are not
Like they're
open
too
to.
woke.
No, I mean like
No.
dude, that's
Oh.
that's exposure. That's exposure that's coming in, and that's a lot of information. Then they get to choose what kind of information are they aligning with and what they stand with, which I'm happy about. I'm in softness. What I mean was like they don't have the threshold to work beyond a certain point, and they feel that it's easier because of the opportunities right now that we can keep changing the way that they work in certain aspects. So when I say soft, I mean they are less patient about certain things.
More entitled,
Yeah.
less patient.
Could be more entitled, and I mean like dude, honestly they should be. And like that's the kind of like discourse I keep having with myself. And like of course, like if I had the opportunity that they had in that age,
Yeah.
I would have done things a lot more differently. I would have been that like radical in terms of what my changes are going to be in terms of my work ethics and all these things. But
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, actually, that's a really great point because unlike all of you, I just work to earn money. So
I mean, we do that as well.
no. But what I mean is like, I don't go to work to like, I don't like love what I do. Like I go, I like it, I do it.
Thanks,
And I
Ariana.
go home. You know how people say like, I hate 9 to 5 and all, which I'm sure like you guys are not 9 to 5.
No.
So my like dream job is a 9 to 5 job where I can go in at 9, work 8 hours and come home and then just do my thing and live life. Like that is
Okay.
my like dream,
Sure.
right? What my point was initially is that I am who you're talking about, where I am not like, you know what they say, like quiet quitting, which is basically you go in, you do your basic job, whatever you're doing, and then you leave and you want to get paid for it. Is that what you mean by like
yeah.
soft
But
and
then
like
again, like
unmotivated?
what are you? And this is just coming out of like pure
Yeah.
like inquisitiveness. Like what are you planning on doing in the next? Like, do you have any goals in terms of like being a certain entity in the future?
So I think that's the thing. I like my life and I like living life. I'm not like a worker. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not like in love. Like I'm not that ambitious.
Which-
I'm very happy
Okay,
with where I am and working my 8 hours, earning my money, and then like traveling and living my life with what I want to do.
But your money will exponentially increase if you are in a certain stream and you're growing in that particular stream.
100%. But I think like when you're doing a regular job like marketing or whatever it is, there is like a steady growth that happens anyway. Regardless, if you're in a job environment.
I think what we're trying to say is if you're more ambitious now, you can work less later. So it might work to your goal of not working to work more now.
Yeah, but I'm also happy with just going with the vibes and just doing
Sure,
my
I-
thing. And
Yeah, if you're
you know,
happy, you're
some
happy.
people-
Like
some people, like that's what I'm saying. Like you guys are super motivated and that's amazing. But I feel like there's people like me also who are just like, we like living. And just like that balance, coming back to that original thing,
Sure.
I'm all about like, I'll work in my work hours. Obviously, there are days where it goes extra and you're like, okay, yeah, of course, I'll put in this time. But usually, like 6 o'clock, I'm very happy to stop working and go home.
If at all a circumstance or like an instance arise where or like keeps on like
Yeah.
popping up where you have to work beyond 6 o'clock or
Right.
whatever,
I
would you be
think-
comfortable with it after a certain point?
So that's what I'm saying. I used to work in a marketing agency. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, but their work timings are terrible. So I think for like my
Drop
first
them, bro. Drop their name.
My first 3 months at my marketing job, I worked agency life, okay? I worked from like, I reached office at 10 and I would leave at like 9. So it would be like terrible and this is every day and it doesn't stop. Like you'll do it for 1 week, 2 weeks, and then you're like, is this my life? Like this is disgusting. So I hated that. And I was like trying really hard to get out of it. And eventually I did get out of it. It wasn't for me. But there were people who loved it and they were like, oh yeah, we'll put in that extra time. Like there used to be people who would work like till 3 a.m. at the office and like they would like enjoy it. And I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
You know?
I do feel like, and this might come across as, again, like me being this person, but I feel like this is like literally the last generation where you're going to be able to build massive companies, because like people in the next generation are very precise about their work timings and they won't be going the extra mile in terms of like helping an entity which is much bigger than them in order to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like this particular part is the last point in our generation where you're going to build companies like what a Tata was, or like what a Reliance is and everything like this.
But isn't it like, I think you feel that, and you guys must all feel that because you own the business and you own the company. If I had a company that I was super passionate about, I would also want to work all the time and put in my everything and hope that everyone who works with me would do that. But I also worked at this, so I am a big job changer also. So one of the jobs I did work at, which was the best
addition to the company.
So motivated, just so strong-headed. I will say, Ariana, in your defense, when you do work out, you don't show signs of who you're saying you are.
No.
You know?
It's not. That's not the point.
There's companies like a Tesla or whatever, or even Apple, Google to that extent, where they create a cult-like feeling and people want to contribute to have that impact on the world. Now, you may have not really resonated with that company. Impact that your marketing company was having.
100%.
But hopefully, having said that, show you feel that.
No, I 100% feel that here. But also, what I'm trying to say is like when I worked at a company with a very prominent founder, she was like very happy to work like all hours of the day, and she would like send emails at random hours of the night, and that's okay because that's her company, that's her baby. But why should I be subjected to that? Like it's not my job. And I understand what you're saying. You want to hire people who work, and I just want to say I'm looking for jobs and you can hire me. I'm an amazing employee.
But it's more than hire, it's trust, you know. Like
I think
just
that's
like
super hard.
Yeah.
No, I think
I think if you do want to be hired, Ariana, we'll have to cut out all of what you said before.
No,
keep just that part. Okay?
I mean, we hired her because we trust that she understands the show.
Yeah.
We don't care about your work ethic as much.
I would agree with that.
You know what?
Well.
I think, I'm sorry to say, again, I disagree with you. I don't think this is
Which
the last.
I'm really vibing with, man. Like I'm like happy with, like,
I don't think
having
this is the last generation that things won't be built, because I think every generation looks at the next generation and says, oh, they had it so easy because they didn't have to do this. The world is fucking changing so rapidly. And like to think like a social media company would be like the biggest players in the world, or like a technology company would be the biggest players in every field. Apple is like entertainment, product, whatever, retail. You know, it's crazy and we don't know what's next. And I think every generation has like people who work and hustle and who want to create that legacy. And coming back to the original point of you being like, oh, we're working now so we have more free time later. That has been the mentality forever. That's what our parents did. Like I saw my dad, working fucking outrageous hours. So half the time I wouldn't have dinner with him because he was at work, right? And like so many of my friends had the same experience, and you're always thinking about, oh, legacy and building this. And like, I think it's perfect to talk about balance, because I saw it with my brother, I saw it with me. This is going to sound so fucking nerdy, but I think it makes a lot of sense. There's a song from Hamilton, the musical. Watch it. There's a song from Hamilton where he talks about Hamilton lives like he's running out of time. And I felt like there was this whole period from I went to the US for a trip. I came back for like 2 months. I felt like I was living like I was running out of time. I felt like it was never enough. There was always something I couldn't do. There was always something I was lacking. I was working 3 jobs. I would work in the car on the way home. I would be working for something else. Then I would go meet someone, wake up in 2 hours, work. And it came at the cost of everything. And that's when I was like, fuck, I gotta figure this out. Like I was with Ariana and Jay once after a shoot, and I was like, boys, I cannot do this anymore. It came at the cost of my relationship. It came at the cost of my like family time. It came at the cost of my work. And I think, you know, it's very easy to say, oh, these guys are soft because they didn't struggle the way I did. But I think the struggle changes.
So I think
we gave him a big hug after he said that, guys. Don't worry.
That's where you find your balance, right? You got to
Yeah.
push and find what that threshold is. That was your threshold. Now you know that you never want to reach there, but you are able to if it ever comes up.
No, of
And,
course.
You know,
You think about adaptive stress as well. Like your threshold now is not
Changes.
necessarily, like in training as well. You work up to a certain amount and then that's your, projected max. And then that gets higher. And balance is a part of that. You work till your max, balance it out. That's your max.
Yeah.
Then you keep going.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're soft
I think
at all.
what
I think you're a
Kunal-
very ambitious dude.
It's not
So
about.
I
I think what Kunal is saying is that the softness comes from people who don't want to test that threshold too much.
But I think every generation has had people like that, and every generation has had people who want to push. And honestly, the reason I disagree with this a lot is the school I went to was a very academically driven school. 100 people class, every fucking person in that class till today, every time I meet them, are just trying to push. And I think that generation is always going to exist. And of course, you're going to meet more people. Maybe we're exposed to more people because of the internet, because of other ideas. We're exposed to other, like, people look at us and say, oh, what, they're making videos online. They're not really grinding. What, kya kar rahe? Wasting time. They're just talking. You know what I mean? But for us, we put in work, right? Like, I've seen everyone in this room work hard. And there's so many people who look at us, Arey, what, they're just talking to your friends. Kya hai? You know what I mean? I think it's easy to call something soft. We were talking about this. The generation above us used to look at us in school probably and say, oh, who are these guys? They don't care. What are they doing? You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I think that it's just like, that's life. That's the cycle.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree with every single thing that you said. The thing is, in the end, like, for every one of you, how many of the other people who are there in terms of like people who just let go the opportunities that might come in for the sake of the perceived mental health? That is what I'm trying to say. Like that percentage will be there, but it's very saturated right now as compared to the people who are going to be like this thing. Reason being, because a lot of people, I'm not saying like I'm from a different generation altogether, but at the same time, like, reason being, like, at least people from our parents' generation who literally had to slog their asses because, like, for them, they did not have the opportunities that we have.
Yeah.
So their work ethic was like, if you work hard, you'll be able to like achieve something, because it was like time as compared to like over here, it's value that you're putting in.
Yeah.
But over here, even when it comes to value, because of the collective headspace that people are in, that I don't want to push in that amount of time, the value that they can actually provide is also getting lesser. That is what I was trying to say.
That was so well put.
Yeah,
man.
it was. Made me want to go work out despite my own injury right now.
I also want to say, in support of Ariana, we've seen her working really hard even for the
dude.
pod.
Yeah.
I think she's just like underselling
I
herself.
was
Hire
gonna
her.
say, like, I've seen a lot of improvement. I mean, even in just your mentality of when you work out, at least that's all I can attest to. But yeah, just give yourself a little more credit, I guess.
No,
Ariana.
I think maybe basically what I'm trying to say is when you work 9 to 5. No. When you work 9 to 5 at a job, it's not that you're not working hard in those 8 hours or you don't care about your job. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. I definitely think you should care about your job and do it well. And I'm definitely one of those people who does. But I'm just saying that there has to be a time where, at least for me, I'm going to be like, hey, listen, I'm giving you 8 hours of my day. I'm awake for like 12
that's
hours in the
boundaries.
day.
Yeah, sure.
And I think drawing those boundaries, that's the word. You need to do that. And I set those boundaries for myself and I say, okay, fine, you know what? I'm giving you 8 hours of my day. I'm awake for 14 hours in a day. Now, whatever the math is. So I just have that much time. If I'm getting 8 hours of sleep, I just have that much time to, do everything else. And that's something that a decision you have to make for yourself. And for me, I make that decision and I'm like, okay, this is me. And for some other people, you could be like, I have to work 12 hours a day and have 2 hours of time to myself. And that's also fine. The grind and the hustle and all of that. But I'm not that person. And I did that for my other...
But speaking of setting
So-
boundaries, I think
yeah.
this is a good place to end the episode. But Kunal, before we do that, do you have an empty shelf item for us?
Oh yeah.
You do? Your bag?
I'm not giving you the box, but I'm giving you guys this thing. It's
Oh,
for my...
shit.
Oh my God.
Fuck yes, dude.
Yeah.
What's the
Thank
story
you.
behind that?
So yeah, like, this is, I bought this the day that we...
Those are my fit. Thanks.
Yeah. It's cool, right? So that's from Sri Lanka for my surfing trip, which I was doing. So
Sick.
That is awesome. And I suspect that's not going to go on the shelf and we'll just see Aditya wearing it in 3 months. Where are the sunglasses he's posting on Instagram?
Tag on Insta.
Yo,
place
that's
it
one
on
of
the
the
shelf, wherever
sickest
you
like, do it,
items
man.
we've got, dude. For sure. We're definitely gonna use that in like a skit or something.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
fire.
Perfect time to also say that this episode was brought to you by Blue Tick Eye. Use our code HSTBT20 to grab yourself 20% off. And thank you, Kunal, for being here, spending your
Thank
time
you.
with us.
Thank you
for
so much.
having a
man.
nice
That was
discourse.
Great. Yeah.
And yeah, man, like I've learned a couple of things and I really hope that it was valuable time for you guys also.
Of course.
definitely.
Guys, we're going to link everything of Kunal's in the description. Please go show him some love, support from the HST Army. And we'll see you next week for the Having Said That show.
Peace.
Sheep by the dozen, hate them or you love them. If you make me feel away, then I might switch up for your cousin.